light is red, the kids are in bed, which means it is time for Mile High Musings with me, Aaron Yowell, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I have been talking for a solid 3 minutes, muted, because I'm a gigantic buffoon. What's good, sports fans? It's your boy Aaron Yell, and welcome to episode 24 of Mile High Musings here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. We're going to chalk that up to the fact that it feels like negative 3 degrees here in North Texas. I can't believe I did that. And it feels like a balmy 6 in Denver, so maybe it's a good thing those outdoor sports teams, our beloved Broncos in particular, are not playing. But let's get back on track here, and before we get started, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is time that we ascend to that snowy, ice-covered peak and breathe in that rarefied mountain air. You know, the kind that freezes your boogers on Andy Reid's mustache. As I bring you sports takes a mile above the rest. On tonight's show, we're going to talk about the Denver Nuggets, their week, and their win in a Sunday matinee today against the Pacers. We'll talk Avalanche and how they've pretty much put the league on notice, minus that crappy Florida game, since the start of the new calendar year. We'll go back to college and take a look at college hoops and hockey around that great state of ours. And in crunch time, I want to talk about all-star games. Do we really need them? I don't think we do. But before we get to all that, thank goodness you did catch it, Taryn. I wasn't even on chat, like I wasn't even on the chat window. I just saw that a notification popped up, and I looked down at my microphone settings, and there I was muted. But before I continue to make a giant idiot of myself, let's handle some business. For the last 9 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. Make sure to follow us at IE Sports Radio on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok to keep up with the latest in sports and with our shows. Also, make sure to check out our daily updated website, iesportsradio.com. At iesportsradio.com, you can see our daily show schedule and all of our show pages with personal bios and the podcast feed for each individual show, including this one, Mile High Musings. Check out the show page at iesportsradio.com/Mile High Musings. In addition to our show pages, you can catch the IE Sports Radio blog, Hall of Fame, Fans of the Month page, and our merchandise shop, including t-shirts, tank tops, caps, long-sleeve shirts, hoodies, and so much more. For nearly a decade here at IE Sports Radio, we've continued to be by the fans and for the fans, and we thank each and every one of you for all of your support and for making IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports. What's good, sports fans? It's your boy Aaron Yao from Mile High Musings here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. And I am super excited to tell you about a new sponsor on the network, Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm's Single A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all brisket beef jerky offers gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, and high in protein. That's my favorite part. This is some of the best beef jerky you can get your hands on. Check them out online, planetjerky.com. Once again, a huge shout out to our sponsor, Planet Jerky, Premium Brisket Beef Jerky, the jerky that is on a whole other planet. Still reeling from the fact that I had myself muted for the first 3 minutes, and I will 100% blame it on the cold. But let's kick off today's Mile High Musings on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports, with a question. Did the Nuggets strike gold this week? And I answer that question with a, maybe? And I say maybe with a question mark because I want to see how next week goes. Because the Nuggets played Wednesday, Friday, and today. And yes, one of those games this week was anything but gold. However, you are involved in an 82-game season, so even the best teams are not expected to be on every single night. And the Nuggets being in the position that they're in, they're the defending champs. So everybody wants a piece of them. And people are going to give the Nuggets their best shot. Oh, my mic's speaking, so I can see it. Microphone issues. Coming in 3 minutes late because I'm muted. It's a great day. So let's try this again. So, you're involved in an 82-game season. Even though 73-9 Warriors lost 9, and I'm not saying the Nuggets need to be the 73-9 Warriors. They just need to be good enough to be in a position to strike in April. And every team is going to give you their best shot because you're the defending champions. And that is actually good because iron sharpens iron, gang. And if you want the Nuggets to produce in April and May and June like they did last year, well, you kind of want every team's best shot. Especially with the things that we're figuring out with our bench and our rotations right now, which, Game 41, I don't need it to be figured out right now. Game 81? Yeah, I want it to be figured out, but not Game 41. So Wednesday night, the Nuggets lose 124-111 in Utah. I don't know if they penciled this one in as a loss or they went, I don't know. Jokic had 27, 11, and 6, but didn't get a lot of help. And the starters were no better than a minus 18 in the old plus-minus stat column. Jazz, on the other hand, got 26 from Markkanen, 22 from Colin Sexton, and 27 from Jordan Clarkson off the bench, which was the thing. I feel like every time the Nuggets lay an egg, somebody from somebody else's bench goes bananas. I feel like I've said that every week on this show. Friday night, however, the Nuggets did win 125-113 at home against New Orleans. A bounce-back game? Yeah. And against a good team that really actually should be matchup problems for Denver, or maybe like matchup evens, because you've got Zion, who's big and strong and athletic and can do, kind of whatever he wants. That's where AG goes. You have Brandon Ingram, who's a tough matchup and gets Michael Porter Jr. because KCP's too small. They just have guys, and Jonas Valanciunas likes to play physical and will body up Jokic. And actually, Jonas Valanciunas got called for a flop tee in this game because Valanciunas was bodying Jokic up, so Jokic went and bodied him up one play, dunked on him. Valanciunas flopped, and he got the T. This game was definitely more like it. So Jokic, another triple-double against the Pelicans, 27 points, 10 rebounds, 14 assists. He likes to do it against the Pelicans. I don't know if it's because it's against Valanciunas or he likes the matchups the other guys get. I don't know. Nuggets had 3 starters with 20 or more in the game. Mike and Jamal both had 20. Jamal added 9 assists, and Jokic with 27. Jokic shot better than 50% from the field, including better than 40% from the three-point arc. But, y'all, the moment of moments in this game, it should be the assist of the year from Jokic. Nuggets were going left to right on the screen. They run some basic action. Murray catches it wing, dribbles top of the key. Jokic is at the free throw line right at the nail. He in the high post. He gets it from Murray, and he turns around for half a second to see AG cutting him, throws a no-look two-handed over the head pass that AG catches and dunks, and Jokic is halfway down the floor when AG puts it in. It's one of those moments where you watch the highlight over and over again, and by the third, fourth time, you're listening for how the announcers are calling that play because it was incredible. And some of us here, in Nuggets land are just like, that was great, and we like to see it, but also that's Jokic, man. That's what he does. My dad sent me a clip from X as if I hadn't seen it, and I'm like, yeah, man, I would have liked to heard Jason Kosmiski, the Nuggets radio play-by-play guy, describe that play, because Kos would have been out of his seat like Bugs Bunny on the moon. Bing, ding, 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 on that one. So, Nuggets win. Nuggets win against a good team, and New Orleans was streaking in the right direction. So, it's good to get back on track. And then the Nuggets played today. It was one of the weirdest start times ever. It was a 1:30 tip, Mountain Time. And I know around Martin Luther King Day, they do this. They'll play some matinee games Sunday and Monday. Nuggets, I feel like, usually get a Monday matinee game. I'm glad they didn't. Sunday's no better. But Bruce Brown was back in the building, and the man got his championship ring. And I missed that part of the game. I turned it on just a little late. I missed that part of the game. Luckily, League Pass, you can rewind it. So I rewound it back, found them, giving Brucey B the ring, and just seeing the guys. Love on Bruce Brown. It got a little dusty in the room. And Michael Porter Jr. at the end of the game, interview with Chris Dempsey on Altitude, brought up Bruce a lot. He said, we didn't want Bruce to come in here and have a game and especially get a win in our building on the night he gets his championship ring. No way. But he also said that Bruce Brown is one of the guys. Bruce is always welcome back. He was a huge part of this team, and we love him. And I have heard through multiple people that there is still a group chat that Bruce Brown is still in. And he should be, man. I think he got his bag, and we talked about this before the season started. Brucey B wasn't coming back because he was going to get paid more than the Nuggets could. And it's sad because Bruce Brown's really a Nugget, and he will probably for always and ever be remembered as a Nugget because of what he contributed both in the regular season last year and in the playoffs. But we haven't even talked about the game yet. Whew. So the Nuggets were ready, unlike their roommates when they play matinee games. Looking at you, Florida game. This was a solid game from the starters, and while I felt Indiana hung around for most of the game, I wasn't super nervous watching it. Jokic had a Massambour double, that is one statistical category shy of a triple-double. 25 points, 12 rebounds, and 9 assists. Jokic had 3 starters with 25 points today. Nuggets. Yeah, did I say Nuggets? I might have said Jokic. I don't know. I'm cold. Nuggets had 3 starters with 25 points today. Mike, and Jamal each had 25. AG had 20 points and 10 boards, and KCP had 11 points. The Nuggets only needed 11 points from the bench because their starters were so dominant in this game. Nuggets shot 65% from the field, including 50% from 3. And if they would have shot 75% from the free throw line instead of 65%, they would have blown Indiana straight out the building today. Our free throw shooting is abysmal, and I don't understand. We have finesse players that draw fouls that should be great at shooting free throws. I really think the worst free throw shooter should be Aaron Gordon, and he is. But there's no way AG dominates the free throw line that much to where we as a team shoot terrible. One of the things I hope they get figured out. So, I don't know. The win today moves the Nuggets to 28-13 on the season. Half game back of both OKC and Minnesota for first place in the West. Nuggets still have played more games than anyone else to this point. And at the exact halfway mark, they have won 7 of their last 10 and they're on pace to win 56 games this year. This time last year, Nuggets were in the middle of a 9-game win streak, and while I would love to believe that we are capable of that, we're about to go on an East Coast trip that includes games in Philly, Boston, Indiana, and MSG. It's going to be tough sledding. You know, the whole Embiid, Jokic thing, who's the real MVP, blah, 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 blah. Listen, I don't care. My man's was the finals MVP. That's all I need to see. Be one of those. I don't know if Jokic ever wins another regular season MVP, and I don't care if he ever wins another regular season MVP. He showed that he can do it in the playoffs, and I guess that's how you know you've reached some sort of pinnacle as a fan, when you're like, meh, I don't care. I don't care about All-Star games. See, I'm already teasing the 4th segment. I don't care about All-Star games. I don't care about all NBAs. I just care about what you do in April, May, and June. So, Coach is calling a timeout. On the other side, let's talk hockey. You're listening to Mile High Musings here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
What's up, sports fans? You're listening to IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I'm your favorite West Coast Wisconsinite, Bernie Bango, and if you're a cheesehead, come listen to my show, Big Cheese Sports, where we road trip around America's Dairyland, previewing, reviewing, predicting, debating, and digging into all that is Wisconsin sports at the college and pro levels. Join me on IE Sports Radio, Sundays at 1 p.m. Central Standard. Bernie out.
Bernie frickin' Bango, I bet, is over the moon right now because his Packers came into Dallas here and whooped the ever-loving shit out of the Cowboys, and it wasn't even close. So shout out to Bernie Bango and the Big Cheese Sports Show on Sundays here on the network. Shout out to Ralph and the Inter Sports Report for being in the chat, and Taryn always being in the chat. Good to have y'all in the chat. Don't forget to give us a follow on X over at Mile High Musings _IESR. Follow all of our shows there, and check out our website for more information and our schedule. So segment 2 of tonight's show, Mile High Musings, is making a statement, eh? After that terrible Saturday matinee Florida game that we had to talk about last week, Devon Taves came out and said that it was a one-off. We're really not super worried about it, and we're not going to put a lot of stock into it. And the Avs proved him right. And that was kind of a big thing to say, and I would like to say I told you so. But going back to the summer, and even early in the season, I really pushed. Well, I didn't push for anything. I wanted on this show the Avalanche to make sure they signed Devon Taves to a long-term contract, and if they were going to give out the Captain C, while Landeskog was still out, why not give it to Taves? Speaking of which, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, news alert, that's right. Our captain, Gabriel Landeskog, was on the ice this week with the team. Now, he was not in a no-contact sweater, but he was not skating with the team. But he got back on the ice, which, all things considered, with his surgery and his injury and the fact that he hasn't played in almost 2 full seasons, that's a big deal. And you know what? I think about Jamal Murray and how Jamal Murray went basically 2 seasons without playing. And my mic gets more excited than I do. It's not the squeakiest chair in the world. It's my microphone, which I don't know why. I work in theatrical and lighting and audio, and nothing seems wrong with it, but it freaks out. I get excited. Maybe it's too much. I don't know. But think about Jamal Murray coming back and the Nuggets win the championship. Maybe Gabe can come back and the Avs can bag another one. I don't know. That's wishful thinking. But, whatever. And maybe the Nuggets could say the same thing about their game last week against Utah. Time will tell on that one, especially when we go out on the road on the East Coast. But let's get back to the Avalanche. The Avs played Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday this week, and they played against some tough competition. It was not San Jose, Anaheim, and Chicago coming in here. No offense to any of those cities, but they're not really good at hockey right now. Monday, Avs got a 4-3 shootout win. Yeah. Background sounded great with you talking. Ralph, it happens every once in a while. Some episodes I'll get it once or twice. Some episodes it won't happen. So live theater, as I like to call it. Avs, again, 4-3 shutout win against Boston. And man, this Colorado team likes to play from behind. And it's sort of exhausting. Even if it is a 1-0 thing. Avs gave up the first goal in this one, but late in the first, Rantanen scored his 21st of the year on the power play. Oh, by the way, Nathan MacKinnon picked up an assist on that goal, moving his point streak to open the season at home to 22 games. It's a lot to think about and a lot to say. Logan O'Connor scored an amazing goal to start the second. If it weren't for the shootout win, it'd be the goal of the night, causing two Bruins to run into each other. And then yoink! LOC takes the puck and snipes one past the goalie. Swayman was playing great in that game too. He played great and was getting chippy, but LOC sniped him. And, you know, for a third line guy or maybe even a fourth line guy if we're fully healthy, playing up on the second line, LOC is really showing that he fits in on this team. B's got a fourth line goal of their own to even it up, and then young Sam Malinsky did his best Cale Makar impression with a little shimmy shake at the blue line to make it 3-2. The Bees did tie this one up in the third, but, you know, nothing happened at the end of the third and in overtime, so we're forced to go to the shootout. And Georgie came up big finally with 3 stops in the shootout, and then Val scored his attempt to bag the win. Now, I think it's weird. Heard this on a podcast, and I wanted to bring it up on my show. Credit to DNVR Avalanche podcast on this one, this idea. The goalie gets a win for a shootout win, right? They get a win. Why doesn't the game-winning goal scorer get a goal in their season stats? I don't know why that is, but if the goalie is going to register a win in that shootout, I really do think that the winning goal scorer should get a goal tallied for their season stats. I think it's kind of ridiculous. But, I don't know, just a thought. Let that noodle for the rest of the week. Wednesday, Avs get a 3-0 win at home against Vegas. And if you ask me, someone who has missed, I think, one Avs game this year, yeah? Buffalo matinee. That was the only game I missed. Which of these 43 games the Avalanche have played, has been the best so far? I will tell you, it was the Vegas game on Wednesday night. It was not the reverse of the first game against Vegas on the scoreboard. It was not the 7-0 hand it back to you. I think this game was better than the 6-3 comeback win against the Stars. If you watch this game, you could see the Avalanche were in total control the entire time. Val scored late in the first on a power play, and then again in the second, again on the power play, to make it 2-0. And on the second goal, that second period goal, Nathan MacKinnon extended his season-opening home point streak to 23 games, tying him with some fella named Wayne Gretzky. I guess he's kind of a big deal as hockey players. Yeah, I know, right? He ties the great one, who actually is first all time, where Wayne Gretzky scored a point in every home game one year, because, you know, the great one. But Nate moves to 23 games in a row at home with a point, ties him with Joe Sakic for the franchise longest home point streak. And Joe's didn't happen at the beginning of the year, but captain is the captain. LOC scored in his second straight game in the third of this one. Georgiev with a shutout, and he finally deserved it because he actually played 60 straight good minutes. And, you know, the only stat column that the Avs didn't lead in this game was faceoffs, and they rarely do. For some reason, we're just not really good at winning faceoffs. So I don't take much stock in that. It's a thing. But one of the biggest things that jumps out at me the first 2 games of the week is the defense. The Avalanche were giving up tons of shots, tons of chances, leaving Georgie out to dry, like in the Florida game, for example. But the Avs only gave up 25 shots in this one against the defending Stanley Cup champions, who are coming back down to earth. They started wicked, insane hot at the beginning of the year and now are barely in a playoff spot, as it were. And they gave up 26 shots against Boston, who's the beast in the East. So the defense is figuring it out. The defense is not allowing shots through. They're not allowing good scoring chances. And, I hate that Georgie has to give up a couple a night, but we have the offense to make up for his mistakes. So, it is what it is. Speaking of mistakes, the Avs played Saturday. And remember what I was saying about how the Avs love to play from behind? Well, it happened in this one in Toronto. The Avs got down 3-0 in the first. And if you're a casual fan or, someone who's just getting into hockey, you probably turned this one off. And I don't blame you. But those of us sickos who watch this team night in and night out knew what was coming. We hoped. A lot. The Avs scored 2 in the second. Drouin on the power play. And that was just such a weird goal. The Avs were on the power play. Ross Colton's in there taking the faceoff. Wins the faceoff and on the win gets high-sticked. Official immediately puts his hand up. So it's going to be a 5-on-3. So Toronto just kind of quits. Well, the Avs tic-tac-toe that one around. And Drouin ends up in front with Toronto half quitting, and he buries it. It was just so wild. And Toronto's like, well, I don't want to give this team a 5-on-3. I was like, no, okay, well, how about we just score, and then we're going to still be on the power play? Because it negates the delayed penalty, but it doesn't negate the penalty that the dude's already serving. So Drouin scores on the power play, and then Mikko scored less than 10 minutes later to make it 3-2. And then to start the third, Cogliano got a workman's goal to even things up. That fourth line was digging and digging and digging, and there was a shot from Manson at the top, at the blue line, that kind of gets blocked, and it ends up fluffing to Cogliano right on his stick. And a little float over a puck. Kind of knuckles it up and over Mark Jones' right shoulder to tie it up. And that was all the best player on planet Earth right now needed. Because that top line gets back out there, and Drouin goes down the right side, drops it to Mikko, who slides it across to McKinnon, who waits as a defender slides by him, and waits, dangles a little bit more, and then buries it, basically posted in on the far side for the game winner. And then Ross Colton bags an empty netter to end his goalless drought. Sheldon Keefe, the head coach of the Toronto Maple Leafs, said in his postgame press conference afterwards, when that McKinnon line gets out there with Taves and Makar, it's talent unseen, and it's not the NHL, it's a, quote, whole nother league. They're so good. And I've been on the McKinnon hype train for years. And I've been telling anybody who will listen, he's stupid good. He can do things other players can't. I don't know what you're missing. Yeah, he's got a little bit of an attitude. Yeah, he gets hurt and it gets him out of heart contention, blah, 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 blah. Y'all, I've been saying he's the best player on the planet for a while, and he's proven it. He's proven it. And Cale Makar's really good. He can do things that defensemen can't do and usually don't do. But y'all, Nathan McKinnon has 69 points, nice, for the year, sitting 3 behind Nikita Kucherov, who has 72, which is just freaking insane. But, McKinnon changes the game. McKinnon and Jokic are so incredibly similar. Coach Bednar talked about that after the Vegas game. How Jokic affects the game if he's not scoring in other ways, the same way that McKinnon affects the game. He doesn't have to bag a goal every night, and he doesn't. But McKinnon is so good with the puck, and he can find players. And defenses have to overcommit to him, because if they don't, or even if they do, like they did in the Toronto game, he'll dangle one and then bury it. Avs continue their East Coast road trip, doing a little East Coast swing in Montreal tomorrow night and in Ottawa on Tuesday. So Avs got that back-to-back thing going on. We're going to go ahead and get a line change. And on the other side, let's go back to school. You're listening to Mile High Musings here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hey there, sports fans. Are you looking for a sports show that maybe isn't 100% about sports?
Then you might want to check out the Sports Couple Perspectives right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Most sports shows cover only scores and stats, and while we're not opposed to that, we dig a little deeper into sports issues and some of the hottest topics in athletics.
In addition to sports, we take a journey through my neck of the woods, pop culture, with movie reviews of both sports and non-sports films.
Speaking of pop culture, make sure to participate in our game nights, where we quiz each other on our specialties, and you, the listeners, can win IE Sports Radio apparel.
We always have a great time learning more about each other's worlds, one show at a time.
So join us each week on the Sports Couple Perspectives, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Woo! You're back listening to Mile High Musings here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Again, Ralph and Taryn, thanks for being in the chat. Check out Couple Sports Perspective on Fridays with our fearless leaders, Larry B. and Cecilia. And let's go back to school. I wish I could go back to college. In college, you know who you are. Sometimes. Let's start with CU Buffaloes, because Sco Buffs, the biggest ticket in town, not in basketball right now, but it's okay. The Buffs are coming off a 3-game losing streak, including getting beat by 47 by 10th ranked Arizona a couple weeks ago. Let's see, it's about 11 days ago that happened. But they picked up a win, gang. They picked up a win yesterday against Bronny James and the USC Trojans. Bronny gets his first start in this one and goes 0 for 7 as the Buffs win 68-58. It's good to see the Buffs bounce back because they gave up a 19 point lead. Wait, where'd my notes go? 19-point lead at halftime against Cal to lose by 4. And that was on the road, so on the road. But then you come back to Coors, back to Boulder, and you get a win in a high-profile game against Bronny, who, you know, he's good. Let's not get it twisted. There's a lot of hype. I don't buy it. So if anybody's seen him play a lot, more than just YouTube clips, you want to talk me into him, that's great. I don't buy it. I don't care who his dad is. He probably beat me in basketball, but that's why I'm sitting here having a podcast and not coaching. God knows I'm too old, but whatever. You know, Buffs are having an up and down year. They're beating teams they should, losing tough games in the conference. They're currently sitting 3-3 in Pac-12 play, 2.5 games back of Oregon, who's 5-0 in Pac-12 play. And overall, the Buffs are 12-5. I mean, they'd have to go on a pretty good stretch to make some noise, and, you know, they'd have to do a lot of work in the tournament, I think, to get in. At this point, I don't even think they're a bubble team. But Tad Boyle's still doing his thing there, man, and I really hope the Buffs can get going to the Big 12. Tough sledding against KU every year, but, you know, that's where they used to be. Maybe they can get some of those guys back, and it's crazy because I think the Pac-12 is a good place for CU basketball, but it's a terrible place for CU football. Isn't that weird? And you can't, of course, split like, oh, we're going to play Pac-12 basketball and Big 12 football. Like, you can't do that, but I always thought the Buffs had crazy, crazy hard times in the Big 12, except for, you know, Chauncey Billups and that team and all that, but KU scares me way more than any of these Pac-12 teams, including Arizona. So, you know, that is what it is. Let's go to the big ticket in Colorado men's basketball, and that is the 17th ranked Colorado State Rams, who are 1-2 in conference play and 13-3 overall. What's crazy is that Utah State is 16-1 overall and 4-0 in conference play. But their big win is against CSU. And the Rams have lost 2 in a row, so I don't foresee them being in the top 25 when Monday rolls out. But, you know, that you lose by 5 to Utah State at Utah State, and you lose by 7 to Boise State at Boise State after ripping off a 4-game win streak. Again, beating teams you should, beating teams like CSU Pueblo, beating teams like Adams State. You put up 106 on Adams State. That's playing nobody. That's playing nobody. You know, I don't think the Mountain West isn't a tough conference. I don't know that CSU is going to win it, and this 17th ranking, which is probably going to get them dipped out right now, I don't believe it, and I don't buy it. I don't buy it. I'm sorry, I'm not a CSU hater, but I don't buy it. I think that their ranking was inflated with a win over Boston College and Creighton early and beating CU early, but they were also beating teams that they should, putting up 105 against Wright State. You beat Northern Colorado on the road. They're not that great this year. We'll get to them in a minute. You beat Boston College. You beat Creighton, both home games. You beat CU. You beat Washington. Okay, Washington. But then you're beating CSU Pueblo. Like I said, beating Adams State. But you're not taking care of business against Utah State and Boise State, two teams who are at the top of the conference standings right now. I guess, thankfully, for CSU, the schedule's going to flip back around. They play Air Force on Tuesday. They play UNLV at the end of the week. They get Wyoming coming up at Nevada, at Wyoming. Then they get San Diego State, who's ranked. That's going to be a tough game. And that's really going to show, that's the barometer for CSU. San Diego State, Utah State, who's 20th. They get both of those teams. CSU's got to come correct, and that's crazy. I don't think CU's going to make any noise, and I don't think CSU's going to make any noise. And let's stay inside the Mountain West with the Air Force Falcons, who were 0-3 in conference play and 7-8 overall. Beating teams like Long Island, Lindenwood, William and Mary, teams that you should. Omaha. But then getting your butt kicked by everybody else. You lose to the UNC Bears. You lose to UT Arlington. You've got CSU coming up this week. CSU's probably hacked about losing 2 in a row. Air Force, gang, you're going to find yourself owing a lot here in a minute. Yeesh. Speaking of bad teams, let's talk about a not-so-bad team. Let's talk about the alma mater, those UNC Bears. UNC Bears, 9-7 on the season. 2-1 in Big Sky Conference play. A game back. Come on, Bears. Overall record same as Eastern Washington, but not as good as other schools in the conference. I mean, you have losses to CU. CU whooped your butt, but you beat Air Force. You beat Montana, paid them back for the football win. But you're playing nobody. You're beating nobody. You lose to CSU. I remember when the Bears got to the tournament. That was crazy. Have to be a miracle. And it is, I will tell you, it is cool to turn on the Bears and see the arena and see how things have changed since I graduated. See how much they've really improved that facility, which is awesome. Good for them. Lastly, I want to talk about the Pios. I want to talk about DU hockey. And DU college hockey is awesome, man. They do weekend games. They do weekend sets. They travel up to wherever they're going to play. And they play 2 games and they come home, go to class, and they play 2 games. It's awesome. So the Pios traveled up to St. Cloud State on Friday and Saturday and got a 5-1 win, knocking off the 14th ranked St. Cloud State Huskies. And the Pios were down 1-0 in this game. They scored 5 in a row. Sounds like our Avs on Saturday, huh? And then they had a 4-4 tie against St. Cloud State. So, I mean, Pios are 6th. Pios are 6th. St. Cloud State is 14th. Pios are good. And I love that DU hockey's good, man. And I love that they're consistently good. I love their factory. They put out a lot of NHL players, and that's awesome. I think that's a lot of fun, and it's fantastic. I think it's great. I think it's fantastic. They're 15-5-2 overall on the season. They're 6-3-1 in the conference. They're 9-2-2 at home, 6-3 away. They're winning games. They're winning games, y'all. And they're winning games consistently. Next weekend, Friday, Saturday, at Omaha. At Omaha. You can listen to it on 104.3 The Fan HD3 if you're into it. But Pio's doing work. Pio's holding it down. Let's hope the CU and CSU can turn it around and get on a win streak. But that's it for college. We're going to take one more quick break, and I want to talk about All-Star games. If you're in the chat right now, I want your opinions. Get those opinions ready for All-Star games. Do we really even care? You're listening to Mile High Musings here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Davidson.
It's your boy, Dentarius Live.
And we are the hosts of Fast Break here on IE Sports Radio, where we discuss everything in the world of basketball from prep to the pros.
You guys should definitely check us out, man. Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. We got all the basketball information you guys need, so we look forward to you guys listening in.
And please do, because we are the best basketball show on this side of the Mississippi. And please do check us out on Twitter at FastBreakISR. D-Lock, where's our time again?
8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. That gives you guys plenty of time on a Sunday.
Tune in.
Shout out to Fast Break, who went live almost 3 hours ago. Those Sunday fam. You're listening to Mile High Musings here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. And let's get into crunch time. And in crunch time today, I want to talk about All-Star games. Do we even really need them? Last couple of years, I was convinced that the NHL did it right. I liked the 3-on-3 tournament. I liked all that. But I don't know. Maybe because the Avs are always fighting the injury bug. I don't care. So I want to talk about a couple different formats. I want to talk about, do we need them? Do we care? Who does it right? Who does it wrong? And then I first want to let you know that I understand that if we stopped having All-Star games, that is a huge hit in revenue for the cities hosting the All-Star games, the league, the advertisers, all of that. I get that there is a business and economic perspective that I don't fully understand, but I understand enough to where if I say, to hell with all the All-Star games, somebody's losing money. I do say, however, who cares, because these fools have more money than God, so whatever. Anywho, the NHL has instituted the one player from each team format as far as who gets in, much like Major League Baseball. And while I think that's cool, you do have some weird pushback of like, I'm sorry, I gotta get there, but San Jose, Anaheim, Chicago, pick a bottom-dwelling team. Chicago, now that Connor Bedard's on IR, okay, you've got one player from each team, including those bottom-dweller teams, going, but are those dudes really all-stars? Like, there are guys playing on the Avalanche second and third line that are better statistically and skill-wise than some of these people representing their team. That is that. That is what I have to say about that. And then, so the first 32 are determined by the team, and then you have the fan vote for the others. And Nathan McKinnon was, of course, the Avalanche's all-star, and he damn well should be. Again, see my comments on the best player on the planet. And then the fans have voted in Cale Makar and Alexander Georgiev. And I think it's kind of a bit. And maybe Georgia got a huge push after that 3-0 shutout against Vegas. I don't know that Georgiev's an all-star. But are they going to vote in Mikko again like they did last year? Are they going to vote in Val Nichushkin like maybe they should? Because Val and Miko are tied to 22 goals, second most on the team behind McKinnon. Has Makar been all-star worthy? I know he's been hurt, and I know he's a very good player, but is he an all-star? That might be let's get him there because that's really what the league wants to see. They want to see Cale Makar. The Avalanche fans don't want to see Cale Makar. Like, there was so much over on X about please don't vote him in. Let him rest, let him rest. So Miko and Val are going to get rest, and everybody else, but Nate, who usually gets hurt, is going. 7th consecutive all-star appearance for Nathan McKinnon. Cale Makar, who's been hurt all year, been fighting something at least, is going to go. And then Georgiev, who I can't tell. This is either going to really boost his confidence, like, oh, damn, I made an all-star game, or he's going to come back in that weird all-star funk. And I hope it's not that. You know, like the post-dunk contest funk that ruins guys. So they've adopted the MLB format. And I liked what the NHL was doing with the 3-on-3 tournaments, the skills competition, but now they're doing a player draft too. It's like they're trying to pick from all of these different. They do the skills competition like NBA and NFL. They do the player draft like the NBA. They do the one player from each team like the MLB. They're trying to like meet in the middle of all these all-star games, and I don't like it. I liked what they did last year. They had fan vote, and they had skills competition and 3-on-3 tournament, and that was it. It was 2 days. Now it's like 3 days because you have one extra day for the draft or whatever. And the fan vote. The fan vote is something that pisses me off in the NBA more than anything, because if you look at the fan vote right now, it's all Lakers and former Lakers. The Lakers aren't even in the damn playoff conversation. Neither are the Golden State Warriors. And it's weird because it's like, do the people that are voting actually have a pulse on the game, or are they just wanting to see old players play in the All-Star game, or like flashes in the pan, or people that are associated with LA? Or is it casuals that are like, oh, I used him on 2K. He was awesome on 2K. Like, give me a break. Jamal Murray isn't even registering in the top 10 of Western Conference guards. He has been an all-star. Yes, he was hurt, but he has been an all-star. He is clearly one of the best guards. But again, like Ralph was saying in the chat, rings me more than anything. I don't care if Jamal Murray is an all-star. As long as he can do work in April, May, and June, that's all I care about. Nikola Jokic is going to be an all-star. He's the best player in the world, and he should be an all-star. And everybody's going to win. And you know what? Yoke should just go. He doesn't have to score a damn bucket. Yoke should just go and dime everybody up. And people picking him last is the stupidest thing I've ever heard of, because you want to get passes from Jokic, so you better pick him first. Otherwise, you're a complete idiot. But if I was Yoke, I would go and I wouldn't even try to score a single point. I would just be diming people up left, right, and center. That's what I would do. I would just hit him with, like, oh, here's a good pass for you. Oh, here's one for you. Alley-oop, yeah, I can do that.
What, Daddy?
Watch the game with me, Penny. You'll understand. But they still do the draft in that one, which is crazy. Just go East and West like it used to be. Who cares? Who even cares? Pro Bowl. The Pro Bowl admitted, the NFL has basically admitted that the Pro Bowl is a total shit show, and let's just do things for fun, and they make it a bit. Now the Broncos, you know, you've got Marvin Mims going, you've got PS2 going, great, but at the end of the day, who cares? I stopped watching the Pro Bowl a long time ago. When I realized how little football they were actually playing in it, I stopped watching it. Can't remember the last time I watched an NBA All-Star game because of maybe Jordan was in it the last time I watched the All-Star game. I like the dunk contest. I used to love the dunk contest when I knew everybody's names. I still watch a lot of NBA basketball, but I'll go through the dunk contest. Maybe what pissed me off is when Aaron Gordon got slighted how many years in a row before he was even with the Nuggets, because I thought dude was the best dunker in the game before he was with the Nuggets. I used to love the dunk contest, man. I used to get up for that. Oof, that was appointment television. All-Star Saturday night. Oh my God, I remember being a kid, getting so hyped for All-Star Saturday night. Oof. The nostalgia's coming back. It's washing over me, gang. I can close my eyes and see Vince Carter. I can close my eyes and see Vince Carter in those dunk contests. All-Star Weekend, I will watch those Vince Carter dunk contest highlights because he was that good. That contest was made for him, and he did not disappoint. So here's the answer. I'm going to answer my own question. Do we really need him? I don't think we do. I don't think the players need him. I don't think the players give two craps about him. I think economy needs him. I think the economy of whatever city needs him. Does the league need him? No. But the league... Here's the thing. This just hit me, so stay with me on this as I fumble through this thought process. The English Premier League, top flight football, top flight soccer in England. They play in-season tournaments, if you will, FA Cup, things like that. Plus they have Champions League. But they have breaks. They have the winter break. And then they get right back into it. What if, hear me out, what if the NBA and NHL had winter break? English Premier League is as big, maybe not as big, but to them, it's as big as the NBA and the NHL. It's probably bigger than the NHL globally. But they can take a winter break and still be fine. I used to watch the EPL religiously. I don't anymore. Saying this makes me think about the EPL. It makes me kind of want to watch it. But why can't the NBA and the NHL take a winter break? Why does the NFL have to do this? Nobody cares. You've already made the season longer, 18 games. Then you extended another week by the Pro Bowl before the Super Bowl. Just take the week off before the Super Bowl. Who cares? And it's in Vegas. Not the Pro Bowl used to be in Hawaii. That was a big deal. It was cool. And now it's in Vegas. I don't know. I think we don't need him. I think the players care even less about him now than they used to. And it's like playing my nephew in 2K. I'm going to score 150 million points and I'm going to make it look flashy and nobody cares. So, I don't know, gang. That's my thoughts. I had to get that out there. But thank you so much for being with me tonight on this freezing cold night that started with me talking to myself for 3 minutes and that has seen 2 microphone issues. Taryn, well, thanks for being in the chat. Everybody, stay warm, stay safe out there. Don't go outside if you don't have to. Straight up, I'm a man from the north who can say that. If you don't got to go outside, don't go outside. Stay inside, watch football, watch Pat Mahomes' helmet get broke and Andy Reid's booger mustache and whatever's going on in that Rams game right now, Taryn. I don't know, but, you know how I feel.
In this house, we praise the Lord and cheer for them Denver Broncos.
So right now, I don't give a damn who wins the Super Bowl. I got to be honest with you. I'm not even going to tell you all who I want to win the Super Bowl because if I put it out there into the world, that'll jinx them. So, since I don't have a dog in the fight, the Broncos aren't in the playoffs, and the hometown Cowboys laid the big fat egg today. This house has got one in the bag that we're rooting for, and I'm not going to tell you who it is. You can message me directly on X if you want to know, but I will not put it out there on social media or here on this podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been a pleasure as always. This your boy Aaron Yell signing off from the top of the mountain with that big old fat mile high salute saying, stay good, sports fans.